Coming from the Truspace, we ain't esoteric neighbors. I don't give a fuck what you say. Found the universal coochie, planting seeds and birds fruit. Now I'm really looking juicy. Welcome to the Truspace. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the Truspace. Welcome to the Truspace. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the Truspace.
What's good, y'all? My name is Open Book. This is my partner.
Hey guys, this is Hearth. Welcome back to Truspace.
And yep, this is your weekly horoscope. So let's get into the energies that we're going to be hit with this week, eclipse week. So it's a big week ahead of us, or a lot of energy unpacked in Scorpio. Shit, nigga, this is going to be a big week. So on Monday, the 7th, we have the moon entering Taurus. How do you think, just the moon walking into Taurus and the beginning phases preparing for the new moon? How is that going to hit us?
So right now we're gonna experience the full accumulation of everything that we started with the new moon in Scorpio, which it was basically us figuring out a new emotional way to feel about our vulnerabilities, our fixated emotions, so we could basically take a shit and move forward. And then the move into Sagittarius, allowing to ascend to a higher understanding of God about our vulnerabilities. Then the move into Capricorn, allowing us to really create physical, practical action that we could take based upon what we understand our vulnerability is. Then the moon went to Aquarius, allowing us to really connect with people, associate that could help us build our plan in Capricorn. Then the moon into Pisces, that was all about dreaming, really seeing how our subconscious mind influenced our vulnerabilities, and how can we use our subconscious mind also to really understand our vulnerabilities from a higher perspective. Then the moon went to Aries, allowing us to really be passionate and be aggressive about changing these vulnerabilities, changing that darkness and things of that nature, to initiating a new way to feel, a new way to see these things. Then right now the moon is in Taurus, allowing us to really bring and harness the physical aspect of all these experiences to our physical body, and see how this detox, how that letting go process of the new moon basically helped us when it comes to our physical reality, which is very important considering Uranus is there. Due to all that sudden changes that's happening, that require us to take like a unique original way of making money through rebelling against what's outdated and all that outdated. To be able to do that, we need a really good senses of our physical reality and understanding value. That's why Scorpio season is so important for detox. Once we detox our physical senses, they could activate on a very efficient level to feel to what's going on outside of us. That's why Scorpio season was important. So right now, the full moon and basically this lunar eclipse in Taurus is going to really get you to feel into your physical body about how did you deal with all these vulnerable experiences. Did you take a nice esoteric shit and you really gonna just go into your body, and that's gonna be the message for you.
Absolutely. And it's funny how Uranus, I'm thinking of, that's like the Fool is Uranus and the Hierophant, is in Taurus. I imagine them two niggas having a motherfucking conversation. What the fuck is the Fool gonna do? Fool's gonna be picking up the candles in the church. Hierophant's gonna be like, nigga, what the fuck, you put that shit down, It's not gonna really work with each other, the erratic nature of Uranus. So it's funny because you're right, like trances like this are so important for helping us deal with energy like that, because you can't just rebel against tradition without an in-depth understanding of tradition and what it is and what you're changing. This is why the North Node's there, why we've been having all of these things hit Taurus. And a big aspect of this lunar eclipse, we have to know value on a deep level. And this is where Taurus energy gets fucked up a lot of the times, because you think it's money. It's not the money. They think it's the bag, the physical money. They think it's the house. They think it's the aesthetics. No, it's the fact that you can go and get those aesthetics. It's the fact that you can that you have value. It's the value that you place on these things. The things themselves are interchangeable. Without an in-depth understanding of that, just like how things are going on now, say, just for example, I'm not on any side, but say for example, people are talking about switching to renewable energy, which makes sense. Like there's reason behind things, but you can't just rebel against gas and oil, the things that are running the society right now without sufficient, things. Like, you guys don't understand society or value and how to do these transitions if you're just saying this is bad, this is good, let's do this. But then what about all the poor people that's going to miss out on heat and all of that? That's just an example of, value and stability. If you want to change value and stability, you need an in-depth understanding of it. You need to know, okay, how can we bring this to the poor people? How can we do this on multiple levels? On multiple levels. So this is a revelation that needs to be had, that I'm sure a lot of us are going through with this energy. This is why we need Taurus. We need Taurus, especially me as a Scorpio. I'm all occult, nigga. I'm all behind the scenes. I'm up in that bitch. I'm under the sheets. I'm everywhere. And then niggas will be like, "Whoa, how come you don't have any bread?" Or how come you don't have a house or a physical? Or how come I can't see any of the things that you're talking about? And I'm like, oh shit. You know what I mean? And you're like, whoa, well that's right. But behind the scenes, but what's the reason for that? Isn't it so that you can have this? And I'm like, oh shit. I guess you can't stay cold. That's why we need Taurus. Taurus keeps us grounded. It's like what you're saying. You're gonna be in your body. That's what they do. And Scorpio will be behind the scenes. Taurus will punch you in the face.
You're gonna fall. Yeah.
And you're like, oh yeah, I have a face. Oh yeah, I have a body. Oh yeah, I have senses. And not everything is, behind the scenes. Some things are right on the surface, ready for me to see. That's the ultimate lesson of Taurus.
Yeah.
Looking at that grand water trine between Neptune, Pisces, Venus, and Lilith, how do you think this is gonna hit?
So there's gonna be a heavy emotional trine, really, because first we have Neptune in Pisces. That's all about understanding our subconscious mind and developing like psychic sensitivity into like what really matter, and understanding how not to get delusional, but also how to apply illusion in like a way that could serve us, considering we're gonna have the moon in Taurus, us emotionally reacting to our physical experiences, which I was gonna sextile the Neptune in Cancer at some point. But right now we're speaking about the water trine. The Neptune in Pisces is gonna create a trine with Venus in Scorpio, which is gonna be quite beneficial. Venus is debilitated here, so it's very hard for Venus to find love, harmony within the area of vulnerabilities and behind the scene things. So Neptune in Pisces is gonna help you develop a higher understanding, which is gonna lift Venus from Scorpio and things of that nature. But also having Venus in Scorpio is good because it teaches you like what's your pure value of love. Scorpio is gonna transform Venus and make Venus really well put together, as opposed to get lost in overall emotional like cycles and things, because Venus could get addicted to this fixated nature. And you're also having the trine to Lilith, allowing you to get comfortable with the dark side of your emotion at home. So this is really, all this energy of water is created for you to get comfortable as you're experiencing this lunar cycle through your physical body, really nourishing you, making you feel like at home, really not too dried out, because we're dealing with that, all these planets in Scorpio get too quite dark.
So much emotional awareness, that's for sure. So much emotional awareness where it definitely can play to a detriment because of the level of sensitivity.
Exactly.
Advice I give for Monday is, this is advice for water signs in general, but large part of Cancer energy, because I guess that's the beginning of water, the first instance of water. But for just water in general, but especially Cancer. Cancer, listen to me. If the power of water, the power of Cancer is being emotional, not sensitive. If you're a sensitive Cancer, you're flunked out and everything is going to offend you, and you'll never really get to understand how you feel or your emotion, because every time you feel something, you react, you respond, there's immediate reaction. And that's what I say with Cancer, because that's the first instance of water. And if you get Cancer wrong, everything else is gonna come wrong. If you get home wrong, everything else, all of your other emotions and stuff, it's not gonna go up. If at home you're uncomfortable, you're gonna have uncomfortable relationships. That's just a given. But the power of water is being emotional. Being able to... Emotional is when you have all the emotions. All of them hit you. And you can sit with that. It's like, oh, all of this hate, all of the world, all of these emotions. I could sit with that for longer than anybody else. Because I sat with that, I understand. I understand how I feel. I understand why you feel the way you feel. I understand the way why he feels the way he feels. And that's the ultimate understanding. But you have to be emotional in terms of accepting a lot of the emotion. So this is how you can curb water trines or utilize them for your best. Allow yourself to be emotional and sit with it. Sit with it. Moon's in Taurus. So the world's not forcing you to be fast right now. Sun's in Scorpio, Moon's in Taurus. Nobody's asking you to be fast right now. So really allow it to sit down on Monday and just be like, especially preparing for the full moon, you better sit your ass down and contemplate your emotions and the influences that are pulling you places, so you can really have a fundamental understanding of how you feel, a fundamental understanding. And so much of us are too sensitive in certain areas that we don't really even know how we feel. You go and ask somebody why they feel the way that they feel. A lot of the times it's either gibberish or they don't know. You know, they don't know where that came from, and you try and ask the source. But there is a source, and there's a reason. That's not to discredit anybody's emotions. They just haven't sat down with enough. That's a good question. Why do you feel that way? There is a reason. There's a valid reason for everybody's emotions. Everybody. I hate that shit. Everybody would be like, oh, Hitler's evil. And it's like, what? Or niggas are anti-Semitic. It's like, what? What was the series of emotions that had led to this type of expression? Nobody wants to sit down and understand that type of shit. But I'm telling you, especially on Monday when you're hit with all of this water or this emotion, sit with it. Sit with it. Because otherwise, we're Scorpio season. Like, that stinger's locked and loaded. And when you try and get defensive, you may not even try to get defensive or kill the motherfucker. As soon as you got the emotion came, you went and killed the nigga and poisoned the nigga, burned the bridge, ruined the relationship, overreacted. You went and said, the nigga just said, why don't you put more... It's a stupid example. It's like, why don't you put more salt in your food or whatever it is, but you done made food for the nigga. Then you go and, you ruin the whole relationship because they said, why didn't you put more salt in the type of shit? Or you're going to bring up their baby mama or something, something deeper because they hurt your feelings. On water trines, that's the type of shit that can happen, where you can get really emotional, really lost in your emotions and run away. So I applaud you to really sit with that energy and understand what it is. This is the preparation for the full moon, the day before the full moon. And it's actually, I think that the full moon is happening like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. On Tuesday. Well, I guess that's where I am. So, but it's early morning, late Monday, early Tuesday, if you get what I mean. So you will be feeling a lot of that energy on Monday. It's really going to be a real build-up. And that's where that trine is. It's really trying to center you into your emotions. It's really trying to get you to understand how you feel and where those emotions had came from for you to best transmute this energy. Remember, it's Scorpio season. So whatever you're feeling, the negative emotions, the depression, everything, is all a source for transmutation. That is the energy fuel source that you as the phoenix have to burn and transform into ashes for you to become the phoenix, if you get what I mean. But yeah, that's how Mondays are looking. Looking at Tuesday, the 8th, the day of the lunar eclipse. Taurus on top of Uranus, the Sun, Venus, and Mercury opposing. How do you think this whole full moon's gonna affect us? Plus Saturn is in Aquarius right over there. T-square going on. How do you think this is gonna hit us?
So you already felt this starting with Monday as the moon enters Taurus, but now you're gonna feel the physical experience on the next level, since the moon's in conjunct Uranus really accelerate the way your emotion feel about physical reality and or your value or what you create as a form of stability so far in Scorpio season, and that's gonna either create your sense of comfortability or not. And then you're having all that opposition to the Sun, Venus, and Mercury really demanding you to get comfortable and becoming aware. The Sun really think Mercury, and then turn to love and create the harmony. Venus in the area of your 8th house, your vulnerabilities, your fixated emotion that you need to transform for the sake of moving forward. It comes to Uranus in Taurus, and we know Uranus is very debilitated here. It's having a hard time to move forward, so it's very important for us to do that detox, so Uranus, this electricity, could move through our physical body so we could do what we need to do. Obviously also have the Saturn Aquarius square too, so it's almost like a T square. Really, we're always Saturn Aquarius been emphasizing our partnership, our long-term partnership, the groups we want to create, the people we want to be associated with for this long-term journey that is going to start when Saturn moves into Pisces, where it's going to end everything, and then Pluto's going to go to Aquarius, and it's going to become the beginning of us taking power and control of our associate, our groups, who we being part about. So this T square is going to be amazing for seeing how far you got in life so far. Do you have the right associate, or is your group solid? And then having all these planets in Scorpio, did you do the detox? And then having the moon in Taurus, do you have physical value? And all those squares, all those opposition is going to really see, do you have something to stand on?
Absolutely. Scorpio deals a lot with your personal will, the feminine side of Mars, Pluto, what you are able to will into existence, what you can become obsessed about, where your focus, dwells on, where all the other light of everything else, dims out, and this is all that you can see, which is funny because it opposes Taurus. And how Venus doesn't like it here. But this is exactly what you need. Tell me one millionaire. Tell me one successful person, not even a millionaire, just a successful person that isn't obsessed with what they do. Tell me how you can get to that level of success, a level of security, without being obsessed to a certain degree. In the healthy ways, maybe there's a lot of people who have reached high levels of success or high level of value, high level of assets or resources, with unhealthy expressions of obsession. But hey, your broke ass is still broke. You know what I mean? Like, how much can you say? It's still that energy that leads to the stability. How healthy you go about it, shit, nigga, that's on you, and what you'll have to deal with. This is why Venus hates Scorpio, because that's the obsession part, where Venus has to feel the vulnerabilities. Imagine being a performer and being on stage and you're scared, you're anxious, but performing and going on the stage is the only way you can accumulate the fame, the title, the money, the value. That's the only way you could do it, is by going on the stage and having the will. I used to look at those ones where people or girls, after high school, you used to be like, I had a crush on you or whatever it is. I don't give a fuck about none of that. If you've ever had a crush or had feelings for me, but you didn't say shit, that's all on you, and that's for anybody. That's all on you. Don't tell me that, I used to like you. No, you a bitch ass nigga. You are a weak person, because you're here imagining a relationship that didn't happen or couldn't happen because of your own will. That's Scorpio that held you back. You were too scared for the vulnerability, and then you're like, we would have been good, or whatever. Why didn't you shoot the shot? Why did you not shoot the shot? And so you'll never have the Taurus, the resource, the stability. You'll never have the asset, the value, feeling stable, self-confidence. You never took the shot. Every time Kobe shot, there was a chance he could miss. So he never would have gotten the Nike deal, the whatever, if he never took the shot. And that's an aspect of Scorpio that the dynamic that's very important for people to get to, and why you have to deal with your vulnerabilities, why you can't run away. Why? Because you will not have the stability that you crave unless, and that's what the moon's teasing your ass with right now. It's like, you want money, right? This is why you broke. Oh, you want stable relationships, right? This is why you broke. Oh, why you want all of these? This is why. The moon's showing you all the things that you want, while the sun is showing you all the vulnerabilities and feelings and emotions that you have that is preventing you from going to do that. So just like what Hera is saying, the overcoming this vulnerability is a necessity for you to have the things that you want. This is why it's such an important, why it's letting you know about your energy towards going into the future and how you manifest, how you utilize your will. So peep game on Tuesday. Peep game. Because what was revealed to you is going to show you how you use your will and what you have manifested with your will. And don't get upset in terms of with so much acceptance is needed. Oh, you'll get it sad season. You'll start accepting shit. You'll be fine. When sad season comes, you'll come up with imagination that makes you feel okay about the situation. You'll be fine when sad comes around. But still, this is letting you know how you utilize your will and how you manifested things based off of your will. So peep game, peep game, and make the transformations that is necessary. At least you know. At least you have the knowledge of what it is that you're holding on to that had created that situation. That just that information alone is powerful. It's humongous. So even if you're in a bad place or you manifested some bad things, don't act like, oh, I'm less than because I don't have what I want. You have the key to get everything that you want if you have that information. So advice for Tuesday: peep game, peep game for real. And that's Tuesday, Lunar Eclipse Day. Looking at Wednesday, November 9th, my birthday, flight day. Air. It's funny, the moon enters Gemini after I said air. But yeah, the moon enters into Gemini on the 9th. How do you think this is going to change the energy?
So this is the time where we're going to take all this energy that we developed in Taurus to understand physical reality, our stability, what's really meaningful for us based upon what we manifested so far with all those interaction through these fixed signs. Now the moon in Gemini is going to be us all emotionally reacting into the energy, being flexible, adaptable, even indecisive when it comes to our ideas, thoughts, ways of communicating, ways of arguing, to develop that early form of education through understanding transportation, communicating with our siblings, co-workers, understanding our neighborhood. But we're doing all this learning, this communication, this argument for our stability, for this value that we had so far. What you developed in Taurus, what the moon in Taurus showed you so far, is going to be what you're going to go there and debate about, what you're going to be arguing about. So right now, what you're going to be, if you have nothing to argue about, you don't feel confident about communicating with your siblings, co-workers, your neighborhood, anything within your immediate surroundings, that means you're not confident about your value, your stability. Your mouth does not have a weight behind it. That's like the transition between Taurus to Gemini.
Absolutely. And once you see the physicality of what had manifested based off of your emotions, moon going to the Gemini is giving you the ideas. Okay, maybe if I incorporated more of this, I could have more stability. Okay, if I dived into this is the information that I need. This is the information that I'm lacking. Let me come up with new ways and ideas of how, if you haven't made the transformation that you need to do, it's going to come up with ideas on how you can make that come about. If you had make the transformation, coming on the full moon, it's going to give you ideas of what you can do now as this new self, this new ideas, the new emotions that you can have. It gives you so much more emotional versatility. So if it's you're stuck in a situation, it's going to help you get it out. If you're brand new into a situation, it's showing you all the different avenues that you can dive into. So for sure.
It's all about understanding how to mutate yourself when it comes to mental transportation. You can only understand that when you go communicate with a Gemini, and that's the quality that makes them a genius, a jack of all trade, but also a crackhead.
Dead ass, where they can talk about anything, legit, forever, legit. It takes any perspective, If you got into a debate with a Gemini, you already lost. I don't know why. It's not that you're wrong.
100%. As a moon Virgo, their feminine counterpart, I wouldn't even argue with a Gemini. I would just take the notes and the ideas that they gave me, see how to actually practicalize it. That's it. I won't allow that square to get between us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you'll know if you know that Gemini. Like that's what I'm saying. Like you can't have a conversation about Kanye or about what's his name, Donald Trump, or any of these niggas without first addressing that they are a Gemini first. So once you address that Gemini, you know, okay, some things are gonna be. You can take some things, but you have to leave. You can't take it all.
Like 100%, deal. Like you can't give a Gemini a word as something that he could use later to stab you. Like I'm telling you, Gemini at that go to communicating and arguing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Just like
like when you go to United States, their law, statutes, bill. And when you go to the Jews, Talmud, Mishnah, all that shit just Gemini energy, just irrational arguments forced to be rational.
Yep, debating about debating. You know what I mean? Like once you get into a debate about debating, you lost, bro.
This is why Capricorn don't fuck with Gemini. This is why they're in conjunct to each other, because that shit leads to nothing to do with what you're gonna build for our generation. And
same thing
like
with
that.
Scorpio. There's no depth. The Scorpio's like, okay, but what does this mean? I don't feel any, different. What does this actually lead to? Gemini's just like on the surface, but it's needed. It's needed. Because that's where we get the new 100%. Ideas. That's where the conceptualizing about conceptualizing puts what we're conceptualizing about in a different concept. You know what I mean? So it's like it serves a purpose. But it's easy to get lost. But that's all mutable signs. In nature, immutable.
Yeah, 100%.
And then 100%. Later on Wednesday, and it's Mercury day too. It's an moon going into Gemini. Venus is making it in conjunction with Mars in Gemini. So it's funny, we're just talking about Scorpio and Gemini. So how do you think this in conjunction right here?
This is gonna carry basically that same theme we're talking about. Well, you don't understand how all this energy in terms of your passion, your desire, your will, you're putting into this communicative aspect of arguing, analyzing, and maybe even wasting time. Like in Mars and Gemini, I tell everybody, go communicate for what you want to build, but don't get lost in these arguments and these useless conversation, because the air elements create time, and time could create a lot of wasteful time, especially with this mutable nature. And then in conjunction, Venus and Scorpio, you're trying to really develop a solidified value about what's really matter and what you truly love. The Venus is getting transformed by Scorpio, but like for us to transform that what we love, we truly love, we can't allow ourselves to get into these arguments, these debates, and that's the in conjunction. You may not realize you wasting all these times and these thoughts, these ideas, ways of intellectualizing are actually wasting your time and preventing you from moving further when it comes to transforming Venus and really making sure it's solidified and things of that nature.
Absolutely. With you trying to rectify, pleasure and trying to bring balance to behind the scenes, you can't be getting lost in the surface level. You can't be exerting all of this energy in Gemini and in the argument without somehow grounding it back into the deeper aspects of yourself. So that's what it's going to be like. I bet maybe you'll be talking. If you get lost into the Mars and Gemini energy, get a little too aggressive with your speech, a vulnerability is going to come up, A vulnerability about maybe an asset or a pleasure that you indulge into or whatever it is along that scorpionic line. It's going to, hit you up and be like, hey, shut the fuck up. Or hey, it's like there's deeper aspects connected to this. Or you're forgetting about this. You're going off on a whole bunch of other shit. That reminds Mars and Gemini is also the tarot card. I think it's the nine of swords, and it's the motherfucker up in bed, with their hands in it. That card represents insomnia, psychological attack. Mars and Gemini. So and Mars is Aradolo said Mars is the type of shit that gets you up in the morning. Mars is the type of shit that keeps you up at night. You know what I mean? So when he said that, I thought about the tarot card. I'm like, wow, this makes so much sense. So like if it's not grounded to something, that's where it'll lead to the psychological attacks. So people can even be attacking the things that you say, the things that you think, but without that grounded, without the Venus and Scorpio energy aligned, you'll fall for it, and then you start conceptualizing and arguing with the Gemini. That's the type of shit that you'll end up going into, instead of grounding it into something deeper. And it's funny, we were talking about the inconjunctions, and then Mars in Gemini is in conjunction Pluto in Capricorn. So how do you think that play?
Man, that's the same energy. Don't get into these arguments. Don't get into these thoughts and ideas that's gonna prevent you from taking power and control comes to your business, your status. You want to control what sources of information like that's coming your way as you start to build your business, your status. Because Mars and Gemini is gonna present all these conversation, these news, these media and things of that nature, and it's gonna blind you from what's truly going on with Pluto and Capricorn. The entire structure of this world is continuously being transformed. New forms of ideas are being happen. So right now, like avoid that in conjunction or use it to gather more information about what you want to do for Pluto and Capricorn.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is we see this in the world. This is people arguing about ideas when the whole world is collapsing around them, you know, or they're arguing about whatever the fuck it is when society's taking power and control over them, you know. People are debating whether or not, you know, you should get the efficacy of vaccines, or whether the vaccines were good for us or not, but not talking about how they forced you to take it. You know what I mean? It's that. So we'll debate forever. Oh, science said this. Well, fuck science. Oh, science said this. Well, fuck science. You know, you get into those endless debates. The Gemini argument, when the underlying thing is they're taking power control over you. They changed the whole. They made you talk about that. You know what I mean? So Pluto and Capricorn,
Exactly.
they take power control of how you structure everything while you're getting lost in the conversation.
Like literally, like Gemini is the ability to argue, but a lot of us, we don't realize that we're arguing about a structure that was pre-built before us. So that's how it could, how your thoughts, your mentality could be controlled just based off of how this system was built up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And depending on what side you're on, just like what I was saying with Venus and Scorpio, there'll be a poke. Like you get lost in the Gemini energy and you get so maybe more aggressive and less passionate about the speech. You're going to realize that because of what you're saying or what you're talking, someone else has power and control over what you're able to do. So either it's taking an asset, or you feel like an authority figure is coming at you or something like that, or the world itself is coming at you because you think or you're communicating or something like that. That is, you dive too far into the Gemini energy and not paying enough attention to the larger role that everything's playing into, for sure. For sure. So that's how the 9th is going. That's how my flight day is going. Looking at
You be flying,
a lot is bare air, bro. Dead ass.
You just don't get lost.
Thursday, November 10th, the moon in Gemini is conjuncting Mars now. So it's a lot more of what we were just saying. But how does that play out?
Man, so right now, the moon conjunction Mars, you're either going to get emotionally aggressive or very passionate for these conversations, for these ideas to keep getting moved forward about what we did so far and what we received when it comes to the full moon, aka the lunar eclipse. Us really seeing our value, our sense of stability. Can we go communicate about it? Can we go debate about it? And the moon conjuncting Mars really motivating you to really go out there and argue, because Gemini is a mutable sign. So sometimes you get indecisive and you go back away, which is very neat, especially in a Scorpio season where you're very vulnerable, where you don't understand how you truly feel and things of that nature. Not completely yet. So like Mars, the moon conjuncting Mars is gonna allow you to get emotionally updated with all the conversation that Mars went through so far, because Mars traveled all the way to like 21 degree, and right now it's retrograding back, giving you those downloads that you need from an emotional point of view, so you could go like continue these conversation. And then having the trine to Saturn, the Saturn Aquarius, obviously giving you a consistency of, I gotta remember my associate, I gotta remember my unique original way that I'm gonna go against what's old and updated. But I gotta first focus on the team, building the mental structure. Saturn is an earth sign, but then when Aquarius is like an air sign, but then this demands you to build the physical structure of like this mentality, this group.
Absolutely. That's why Aquarius fucks with Gemini, because Gemini will go yap, come with all these different ideas, And then Aquarius would be like, wait, what did you just say, Gemini? And it was the one thing out of the 1,000 things that Gemini had said. But if Gemini never said those 1,000 things, maybe we wouldn't have had that idea. We wouldn't have came to that idea. So Aquarius is like, oh yeah, we can actually move this forward. So it loves the idea. It loves the added energy of the conversation, because the conversation is being had. Now people can associate based off of certain ideas, because now the ideas are out in the open. This is what Gemini does the best in its healthiest aspects. It puts the truth out in the open. It puts the information out in the open, so we can all look at it. You know what I mean? And that's it in its highest form. So for sure, Saturn and Aquarius is like, yo, we can build a structure off of this. You know, all of the ideas that are coming off of it, the mutability of it. Same thing with what Mars and Gemini say. We're caught up in the aggressively communicating. The moon coming in is adding more personality. It's adding more personal emotion into what you are communicating. So there's more, just like what you're saying before with the lack of substance. Now it's adding, especially coming from Taurus, now it's adding a little bit more substance to your words. And, you know, now your emotions are more entangled with what you are saying and how you're saying them. So Saturn in Aquarius, this is when your emotions are more aligned with what you are saying, immediately you're going to start finding niggas who are against you and niggas who are for you. You know, that's how you find your tribe. You meaning what you fucking say. You know what I mean? That's how you find your tribe. So I find that that's a big aspect of Thursday. You're probably going to be exposed to certain things in your surroundings, and that people that you're talking to that are the obstacles to you. Teamwork makes the dream work, because they don't agree with what you're what you're thinking, or they're stopping the conversation from happening. Or through that emotional connection to what you are saying, the passionate conversation is giving you the keys. It's like, yo, nigga, I think the same thing too. Or I like that idea. Let's take that and compound on it. Let's fix it on this idea, Aquarius, and build some structure around it. So there's a real opportunity for us to build further, build a better mental connection with those that associate on some business type shit. Not even just on some, you know, oh, we're friends, we can just talk about this, which it might be, but it could be on some business type shit. And maybe not directly, you know, saying business make me think, oh, it has to be, you know, something monetary that comes from it. But you having better relationships leads to better business. You having better ways of communicating leads to better business. So that's more so of what I'm talking about. For sure. And yeah, that's how Thursday's looking. Looking at Friday,
more airheaded than the previous day.
Yeah, bro, it'll be all up in the air, bro. Yeah, for sure. And it's Gemini too. Like, geez, prepare for the conversations. This is why, you know, it's beneficial, just like what you were saying before, to just listen to Gemini. You know, it's like you don't take everything it's saying seriously. Just listen and take the notes. You know what I mean? Take the notes.
It's the same thing with your lungs. Like, you need your lungs to do this job of delivering oxygen. It's a messenger of the God. Like, imagine if you don't want to work with that part of your body that's the messenger of the God. Just imagine that. How
much energy you would have in your body. What would get done? You know what I mean? How well will your cells be able to communicate with each other without that? Probably not at all.
100%. Yo, that's why like the Gemini square is Virgo, but people think it's a bad square. Bro, your lungs working with your digestive system, that's how you produce energy. How can that be a bad square?
Yeah, that's like a focal point right there. Yeah, dead eyes. But yeah, that's how Thursday's looking. Friday, we have the moon entering Cancer now, trining Juno and Pisces. How do you think this is gonna hit us?
So this is us. We're gonna enter a new emotional way to reflect on the journey we've been through so far when it comes to this full lunar eclipse where we felt our physical value through Taurus. Then we communicated about and debated about it in Gemini. But now in Cancer, it's demanding you to really get comfortable and really reflect on what you did so far in Scorpio season, and like meditate on like an emotional way. Every time the moon comes into Cancer, this time for you to really reflect. And in my opinion, reflection is what create good like immune health. Even to the point you could say why females, you could argue that females have a better immune system than males, because females will reflect more because they're more yin, more internal, where the males are more yang, external, and things of that nature. So like this is the moon in Cancer, all about reflecting so you could heal yourself, which is kind of funny since Cancer this was a lymphatic and immune system. And the more you feel comfortable about your emotion, you know how to get really initiate those feelings that create those learning experiences, you develop immune system health. And with the trying to Juno, this is you really getting connected to your what are you married to when it comes to your dreams and illusion that you want to get comfortable with.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Man, even the moon coming from Gemini, where you are having these different ideas of where to move forward emotionally, especially coming off of the full moon. Cancer is just like what you're saying. It's where you check on yourself, where you reflect, and it's like, how do I feel post this transformation, post the realization? You know, I already entertained different ideas of how I can feel or where I can move with this type of thing. How do I feel about myself now? And just like with the immune system, if you don't know how you feel, this is why I had to stress why it's important to be emotional but not sensitive, especially with dealing with Cancer energy. Because if you don't know how you feel, there's no self-protection going on. There's no defending yourself. There's no so much aspects will go and attack your home, attack you personally, that you won't even realize.
That what leads into like autoimmune like problems, people not knowing how they feel or initiate a comfortability.
Absolutely. So this is where you can deeply connect and deeply put that that scope of how do I feel about myself now? You know, really, how do you feel about yourself now, and how can you build better emotional strength? What emotions do you need to actually care about? You know what I mean? Before you're entertaining new ideas of how you should feel and where you should put your emotions with the moon in Gemini. Now it's what are those emotions that what should you care about? This is Drake energy. The whole day is Drake. Sun in Scorpio, moon in Cancer. It's all Drake energy, bro. All Drake energy. And then Drake's showing you the sensitive side of all of this water energy. What was all the latest albums he put out? Certified Lover Boy, Honestly Nevermind. You know, this is all running away from that type of energy. This is all I'm sensitive type of energy. You know what I mean? So look at Drake and what Drake's doing to see how you should be dealing with it. To see the positive end of the spectrum. You know how you look at yourself. Just listen to a Drake album on Friday. Just listen to a Drake album and how you feel. If you relate to it, you're flunked up. I'm just playing. But if you get if it makes you feel sensitive, you know where you're at. You know where you're at. But that's how Friday's playing out. I'm looking at Saturday. The moon's in Cancer now, making the trine with South Node, the Sun, Mercury, and Venus in Scorpio. So how do you think that's going to add on to this energy?
So while the moon is really wanting us to get comfortable and initiate those feelings and emotion and experiences, so we could create opportunity to further that letting go sequence that's happening on with the Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Scorpio, them being transformed by the energy of Scorpio to develop pure value, so we could understand what do we really want from an emotional point of view, which will lead into physical manifestation. Water element sextile the earth element, so that lets you know the physical material of your body is created through the fluids.
Yeah.
So instead of focusing on, oh, should I eat meat, should I eat protein, how can I build my physical body, maybe I should focus on the fluids that leads into the physical manifestation of our body. So that's a very interesting way to look at health, if you will.
Yeah.
And so the moon trining the south node, sun, Mercury, all this is us getting more comfortable as all these planets were diving deeper in Scorpio. This is the time for us to really initiate those feelings and connect with our vulnerabilities. And having the moon in Cancer, the moon is almost like you feeling like a mom, and then having all this energy in Scorpio, you letting yourself know it's okay, that I could move forward with my vulnerabilities and things of that nature. And you guys are also having the square to Carrion, so expect to make mistakes when it comes to the way you like to initiate your own way of seeing and feeling about reality.
Yeah.
And Carrion is a brain injury, so you don't know how you truly feel about the self, since you're trying to heal it, to heal your self-expression, healing that first thought, that first Abraham that you had. But you have obviously going through that the entire transformation in Scorpio, the feminine side of Mars, so you know what to externalize throughout your brain and nervous system, the head.
Absolutely. And even diving into those the vulnerabilities that you hold down, it's like the key to healing the self, to understanding and bringing that all of that back into depth, for sure. This sounds like a real opportunity, just like what we were talking about before, about building your immune system. This is a real opportunity to build a strong immune system, or to compromise your immune system entirely, bro. Because I can see, like, depending on how you feel and what you care about, if you start caring about the same bullshit, post lunar eclipse, or you start to allow and give more emotions to the same things, you can completely compromise your immune system, and that's what you go deep into, and you re-solidify your vulnerabilities. This is a time, because you're looking for comfort, right? So to get rid of the feeling of vulnerability, it can go two ways. Either you suppress them and accept them, and they're still there and they're in you, or you come out with a new way of looking at it, or you heal those aspects, and truly let them go, and find comfortability in that new freeness, find comfortability in that new vulnerability. And that's what will happen once you become vulnerable. Just like what I was saying with the asking out thing. If you don't ask out the person that you like, you'll forever hold on to the energy as would it have worked out? How would it have played out? If you had asked out, even if you got rejected, at least it sets you free. You don't have that energy anymore. It sets you free from it. So, but that's if you confronted the vulnerability. So on Saturday, if you haven't confronted the energy, you may have some real pull for comfort and comfortability and things to take your mind away from that type of stuff. More of the same old, reforming the same bad habits and vulnerabilities that had kept you stuck in the first place. Or you find a new way of finding comfort in these vulnerabilities. After you express them, you find a new level of comfort that elevates you to a new level. So now people can't penetrate that emotional bubble the way that they could have before. Whereas if you suppress it, all it's gonna take is a nigga to poke that sore spot for that stinger to come out and you kill that nigga. So it's Scorpio season. Need I remind you guys about that fucking stinger? Scorpio season, you'll end relationships without even knowing it, without being fully conscious. It's just, oh wait, is that nigga dead? Is he breathing? Is he still alive? That's the type of shit that happens in Scorpio season. But yeah, that's a.
And it's very subtle. That's the scariest part about Scorpio.
Facts. It's behind the scenes. I remember hearing Peace Dealer talk about it as, with Leo, with the Scorpio can easily kill Leo if Leo don't see it. If the lion doesn't see it coming, the Scorpio coming, it's dangerous. But if the lion sees the scorpion, it's not really an issue. You know what I mean? It's a lion. You know, he'll smack the if he sees it. You know, so if you're on the stage and you're trying to do some sneaky manipulative type shit, it doesn't work on the stage. You have to be behind the stage type deal. So that's how it sneaks up on you. And if you're not peeping your head behind the curtains, you know, as soon as you go up on stage, there could be a scorpion right there to sting your ass, you know? So you have to know what's going on and peep your head behind the closed doors, for sure. Scorpio season, what else are you doing? You know?
100%.
So that's Saturday. Looking at Sunday, we have the moon conjuncting Lilith in Cancer in the later degrees now of Cancer, while trining Neptune and Jupiter in Pisces, and you know, making the trine with the Sun, Mercury, and Venus, and South Node and Scorpio. So how do you think this water trine with the moon in Cancer now is adding to this?
So first we have Jupiter and Pisces going retrograde, so make sure that you don't go back on any dreams and illusion and imagination that you want to manifest. Don't go back on them, because they're retrograde might create those opportunity for you to not do them, as you're having that trine to the moon in Cancer, where you try to get emotionally comfortable with everything that you started so far and experienced with this lunar eclipse. You don't want to run away, but actually send those like emotional messages to let Jupiter and Neptune, you know, I want to get comfortable with these dreams and illusion. That's what I truly want, and things of that nature. And then having the trine to South Node, Sun, Mercury, and Scorpio, all that is the detox, the letting go what you need when it comes to your behind the scene power and control issues, really solidifying the way you go about money, resources, so you could chase after that dream, that illusion that you want to manifest, that thing you want to expand, extract knowledge and wisdom on. While Jupiter was in Pisces, Jupiter is retrograde, it's gonna go direct in Aries, so you don't want to go back on that right now. So this is a heavy water trine, might get lost in your emotion, but if you use it correctly, you can really solidify your emotional status from all perspective to go after what you want to do. And obviously we're having the opposition to Pluto in Capricorn. I really like this, having all this water cycle. Pluto in Capricorn is really, I want this structure, I want my bones to look this way, I want this type of strength. The water, you can mold the water into anything you want right now, since you're having all perspective. But make sure Pluto in Capricorn is like the captain, is the one who's overlooking all these mentalities being transformed and things of that nature.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree with that, where your emotions are very malleable right now, especially post this transformation, where you can, the world's, you know, your oyster, where you can really have, you know, a new way of looking at yourself, new way of feeling about a lot of things, you know, new perspectives of emotions that you didn't know that you could have, but somehow you are able to, for sure. And it's really dealing with that, with the level of openness, like what I was talking about with the Cancer energy. You being able to be emotional, you being able to sit with those emotions and try and understand them, for sure. And then it doesn't seem like you could get too far either if you're running away from the true vulnerability. It seems like on Sunday, Pluto and Cap's gonna bring your ass back. It's gonna bring your ass way back over here. It's like, oh, you was trying to be comfortable, huh? You wanna comfort, huh? I'ma snatch that, cause that's what you want. But so that's what I'm gonna post. That's the decision that you're gonna have to make. I'm gonna give you an ultimatum of let go of comfort or hold on to comfort. And you know, you don't want that type of ultimatum where opposite Pluto, opposite Capricorn, it can really change your whole home life. It can really change how you feel about yourself. When you're at home or when you're around friends and loved ones, it's a different type of thing. But when the whole weight and emotional energy of the world comes hitting you and crashing you, you realize the things that you had put up to serve for your stability, to serve for your comfort, were some weak ass shit. So, or maybe you didn't reflect in deep enough, you know. But man, there's more than enough opportunity to reflect with all of these water trines, you know what I mean? So don't let Pluto catch you like that. Really, not even just on Sunday, the whole week. Sit with your emotions. Really, sit and contemplate. Why do I feel this way? Where does this even come from? What memory is being held within this? What water cycle is taking place? What position am I at the water cycle? And really let that shit evaporate and form the cloud that it needs to, and go and dump the water somewhere else. You know what I mean? Or really allow the water cycle to play itself out instead of trying to suppress it. But yeah. Your emotions are very malleable, especially coming up at those end of the days. It's Scorpio season, so with the vulnerability, it's really putting you up to become something else. Not even to become something else, but to become what you already were. That's the concept of Scorpio. You know, it's the ashes. You know, rising out of the ashes. You know, because that was the cover, that was the surface, which is interesting, because Scorpio is talking about rising up out of the ashes. That sounds like to me, and everything's a process, right? So maybe you start out as the crab, and then you leave the crab. You leave the shell of the crab, and now you're vulnerable. Now you it's really about self-protection. Now it's really about you just be allowing all this shit around you. But then when you go into the ocean, you know, it's a whole new different world. There's more shells for you to go into. There's more, you know, a whole new different open world for you to go into. So, but the objective is to go into the ocean. So, you can't stay in the shell, if you get what I mean. You can't stay in the shell forever, because some birds, some eagles gonna come and poke yourself. So you have to get your ass into the water somehow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds like some shit a rabbi would tell you, and you be trying to figure out what was he talking
about. A lie. That's a hypothetical.
The Scorpio season. That's how you get lost in your mind.
Real shit. But yeah, guys, that's the energy of the week. Hope you fuck with the video. Like and subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, Truspace_. Check out our website, Truspace.biz. And yeah, thanks for watching. You know, ask us any questions that you want to know. Let us know things that you would like to see. You know, we're open for the conversation. We're down for it all. So thank y'all for watching.
Take care, guys.